My skirts are hitched, my sleeves rolled up, and I carry fork, hoe, shears for pruning, and a great willingness to brave both fierce heat and heavy rains for the harvest's sake. I am looking, still looking, weary-hearted, sunburned and sore, feet blistered from the trudge between one field and the next, but the message is always, no hired hands wanted. And I keep on looking. I love being at Columbia, and when I arrived at Columbia in 2004, I thought I had arrived in Nirvana. It's just a very special place. As an artist myself, a photographer and a poet, I really enjoy being part of an artistic community. I understand the drive to create, and I also understand the frustration when there is writer's block or artist's block or stagehand block or whatever kind of blockage it may happen to be. I thrive in an artistic community because I understand the rhythms of artistic life. Unfortunately, my time has now, for the last few years, been spent not in scholarship, not in literary production, not in the kinds of activities that were so life-giving to me and I believe useful to others, but rather my time has been spent more in terms of survival issues. And so with 2 doctorates and all these publications and presentations to my name, I'm finding myself struggling to pay my bills. I don't want to make this an isolated situation. I'm not the only one. My situation is no worse than anybody else's. I have colleagues in my own department who are on welfare, on food stamps, who can't pay their rent, who can't pay their mortgages. And basically the reason for this is because we have gone from having 3 courses a semester to having first 2, and then some of us are now down to 1, myself included. What this means is I have had to scramble to find all kinds of employment. I started my own spirituality center, I started teaching Argentine tango, I became a professional photographer, I began officiating at weddings, I do editing, I do writing, I juggle, I preach. I have all these balls going in the air, simply trying to pay my bills. The good news is I enjoy everything I do. But the bad news is that I get little sleep, sometimes on an average 4 hours a night. I usually go to bed between 3 and 4 a.m. and wake up at 8, just in time to make my 9 o'clock class at Columbia. So I have done this for a long time now, 4 hours sleep. But it also means, although I'm doing so much and enjoying it at the same time, that it doesn't really produce the revenue I need for sustainable life. And this is particularly true if there are interruptions like ill health, or in my case, I have aging parents that I need to go and visit. So at least every year, I must get to the island of Malta where I'm from. My dad is 94, my mother is 89. And so it's very important for me to go and visit, and that of course costs money and time. So I feel that the reduction in my courses has made an impact not only on the quality of my life, but also on my contributions academically and on my ability to do some of the things that I want to do and to get more sleep. So where am I going to go with this? Basically, I think the students are the losers as well. I am so sorry that the students who take my classes are unable to follow me the way they used to be able to. Some students who might have taken a mystical consciousness would typically then follow me to exploring the goddess or to women in religion. And so we were able to get to know one another better, to share in a community of learning. I would learn from them, they would learn from me. If they needed a letter of reference, I would have a deeper sense of who they were. They would bring their own gifts to the classroom, and quite honestly, it was extraordinarily life-giving to be part of a very vital community which wasn't limited to one course only, but involved students following an instructor to be able to continue learning from that person and also to explore their own interests at greater depth. So in addition to my own story of feeling disenfranchised and hard done by, I feel for the students who no longer have some of the course options that otherwise they might have had. but I'm no longer able to generate much original material because my time is taken up on survival issues. And this means, as far as I'm concerned, that I'm not giving my students what I would like to give them. I'm not a researcher but a teacher, but at the same time, teachers need to keep current. Teachers need to be abreast not only of what's happening in the world, but they need to be part of what's happening. And up until this point in time, I was not merely providing to my students what other people had written. I was generating brand new material that was cutting edge, both in my theology and in my work in imagery and healing, and also in my poetry and my use of narrative for biblical exegesis. So you might say I'm an original kind of scholar, but that originality unfortunately has been limited in recent years by my need to survive. And so my sense of loss is not just about income. My sense of loss is about my path as a scholar, my path as a teacher, and also my loss of the students who are so dear to me, whom I would like to stay in contact with, not just in one class, but in many classes. And so that pretty much, I think, sums up my situation. And you can find more about me online by visiting my website, elizabethanstewart.com, and that will direct you to my other many websites which deal with my multiple businesses, which I keep juggling one at a time, trying to make it when my role should be in the classroom.